and I hope you all had a blessed weekend and now ready to face a new week that lies ahead of us. Here in Wales, of course, we are out of lockdown, but our hearts go out to you if you're listening from across the border in England this morning. And it's not my place to rub it in and say how great it is to go out shopping and enjoy some meals in restaurants. No, that would be unchristian of me to do. But I do pray that God will grant you grace to put up with the various restrictions that you find yourself in. These are indeed difficult times for us. So much uncertainty. What kind of a Christmas we will have, and so on. However, thank God this morning for the certainty that is found in his word. As a church here in Waterfront, one of our statements of faith declares that we believe in the divine inspiration and authority of the Holy Scriptures. And we can place our faith and our trust in what this book says. It's our final authority in all matters of doctrine and of practice. And one cannot deny the force of fulfilled prophecy as evidence of divine guidance. And when we think of the fulfilled prophecies of this book, it's staggering. And it's staggering how some people fail to place their faith and trust in its pages when you think of the fulfillment of prophecies therein. And just for this morning, I just want us to consider some fulfilled prophecies as far as the life of Jesus is concerned. Just think for a moment of his birth. It was Micah who prophesied, "But you, Bethlehem Ephratah," and he says, "Out of you will come the ruler, the Messiah." And then, of course, we know from Luke's Gospel, chapter 2, "Unto you this day in the town of David, there in Bethlehem, a Saviour has been born, who is Christ the Lord." The prophecy fulfilled. We can think of the prophecy of Zechariah 1:13, which tells us that he would be sold for 30 pieces of silver. And then that fulfillment in Matthew's Gospel, chapter 26 and verse 15. We can think of the prophecy of Isaiah concerning him being condemned with criminals. There in Isaiah chapter 53 and that 12th verse, "I will give him the honor of a victorious soldier because he exposed himself to death. He was counted among the rebels. He bore the sins of many and interceded for rebels." And of course, that prophecy being fulfilled in Luke's Gospel, chapter 22. We can think of him the prophesied of him being silent when he was accused. Think of Isaiah 53 and verse 7. "He was oppressed and treated harshly, yet he never said a word. He was led like a lamb to the slaughter, and as a sheep is silent before her shearers, he did not open his mouth." And then, of course, we can think of that being fulfilled in Matthew's Gospel, chapter 27. Think of that occasion when he stood before Pilate. And, of course, Pilate said, "Don't you realize the power that I have? And so speak up." But, of course, Jesus knew that Pilate had no authority over him. We can think of the prophecy in Psalm 22 and verse 16 of his hands and his feet being pierced. "My enemies surround me like a pack of dogs," he said, "and evil gangs close in on me. They have pierced my hands and my feet." And then we know of that fulfillment in John's Gospel, chapter 19. We can think of him being pierced after his death in Isaiah 53 and verse 5. He was pierced for our transgressions. And then we can think of that occasion when the Roman soldier thrust that sword into his side in Luke's Gospel, chapter 23. We can think of the prophecy of Isaiah 53 and verse 9 concerning him being buried with a rich man and with the rich in his death, says Isaiah. And that, of course, fulfilled then in Matthew's Gospel 27 when he was buried in the tomb of Joseph of Arimathea. And then we can think of suffering not being the end. Isaiah 53 and verse 11 has this to say: when he sees all that is accomplished by his anguish, he will be satisfied. And because of his experience, my righteous just servant will make it possible for many to be counted righteous, for he bore all their sins. And we know that the grave was not the end. Luke's Gospel chapter 4, up from the grave he arose in mighty triumph. Yes, I'm proud to say that at Waterfront we believe in the divine authority and inspiration of the Holy Scriptures. This coming week, place your faith and trust in the pages of this book. God bless you.